Picture this one screen shows a Gen Z user born in 2004 cheerfully tapping through a "Which Disney character are you?" quiz, granting the app full access to their profile and friends list without a second thought. On another screen, a millennial born in 1994 meticulously reviews app permissions, toggles privacy settings to friends only, and double-checks that their VPN is active. This isn't just a caricature, it's a snapshot of a deep generational divide in how we approach the digital world. Gen Z shares everything. Their lives unfold in public on TikTok, and their locations are broadcast on Snap Maps. But does this mean they don't care about privacy? Or have they simply rewritten the rules? Welcome to GENSHIFT. Today we're decoding the privacy paradox of the internet's first true natives. If you've ever felt a chill realizing how much a brand knows about you, hit that like button. And if you've ever created a second secret social media account, definitely subscribe. We're about to unravel what privacy even means in 2025. The evolving definition of privacy from hiding to controlling the narrative. To understand the generational divide, we must first ask, what is online privacy? Historically, privacy was about the right to be let alone. In the digital age, this has evolved. It's now about an individual's right and ability to control the collection, use, and distribution of their personal information. It's not about total secrecy, but about agency, the power to decide, as privacy scholar Alan Weston defined it, when, how, and to what extent information about them is communicated. For millennials who came of age during the internet's awkward adolescence, this definition was forged in the fire of major privacy scandals. As digital immigrants, they remember a time with a clearer boundary between online and offline life. Their formative experience was watching that boundary dissolve. The pivotal moment was the Cambridge Analytica scandal. In 2018, it was revealed that data from up to 50 million Facebook profiles had been harvested not through a hack, but through a personality quiz app that scraped the data of users and their unsuspecting friends. This information was then used to build psychological profiles for political micro-targeting. This wasn't a data breach in the traditional sense, it was an exploitation of the platform's very design. The scandal was a wake-up call. It cemented in the millennial psyche that free online services came at a steep price, their data. The aftermath was a seismic shift in public consciousness. A slick text survey found that the scandal left 76% of consumers moderately or significantly more concerned about their data, and a staggering 85% became more aware of how brands were targeting them online. For millennials, privacy became a defensive act, a battle to hide and protect information from a world that suddenly seemed intent on grabbing it. The Gen Z, however, is the internet's first true natives. They were born into a world where a digital footprint is not a risk to be avoided, but a simple fact of life. They never experienced the transition from a private by default world to a public by default one. For them, it has always been this way. Their understanding of privacy, therefore, is fundamentally different. It isn't about whether they share, but how and with whom. Their approach is not about hiding, but about actively managing audiences and controlling the narrative across multiple platforms. This isn't a failure to care about privacy. It's an adaptation to an entirely new environment, shifting the focus from vertical privacy, the user versus the corporation, to horizontal privacy, the user versus their peers, parents, and public. The paradox of sharing public lives, private circles. This brings us to the central paradox of Gen Z's online life. Their comfort with radical public transparency coexists with their mastery of sophisticated, layered privacy controls. On one hand, Gen Z dominates platforms built for public performance. They are the lifeblood of TikTok, Instagram Reels, and BeReal, where authenticity, short-form video, and unfiltered moments reign supreme. This public sharing is driven by a deep-seated need for community identity expression and social validation. Yet in the same breath, they are pioneers of the private digital enclave. This is the world of the finsta, or fake Instagram. A finsta is a secondary private Instagram account, typically with a small, highly curated list of followers, often under 50 people. It's a digital backstage, a place to escape the pressure of maintaining a perfect image on their main account, or rinsta. Here they can share unfiltered thoughts, unflattering selfies, and inside jokes away from the prying eyes of parents, future employers, or the wider social network. According to a 2022 ExpressVPN poll, this isn't a niche behavior. 40% of Gen Z admit to having at least one Finsta, and more than half of those users manage 3 or more separate accounts. This intricate dance of public and private is a highly evolved strategy for managing what sociologists call context collapse. The phenomenon where diverse social circles like family, close friends, and professional contacts all converge in a single online space. While a millennial might have one primary, carefully curated profile, Gen Z manages multiple context-specific identities. They use Finstas, Instagram's close friends feature, and private Discord servers to meticulously segregate their audiences. This behavior is rooted in the classic sociological theory of self-presentation, which posits that we all have a front-stage self for public performance and a backstage self for private life. For Gen Z, the public TikTok profile or the polished Rinsta is the front stage. The Finsta is the backstage. It's where the performance ends and a more authentic version of the self can emerge. In this light, the term Finsta is a misnomer. It's not a fake identity. It's arguably a more genuine one, a space of liberated self-expression. The curated public profile with its perfect angles and calculated captions is the real performance. However, this sophisticated identity management comes at a cost. The constant digital labor required to maintain multiple personas can be mentally taxing and even lead to a sense of identity fragmentation. The price of convenience, data exchange, and algorithmic influence. At the heart of this digital ecosystem is an implicit bargain known as the privacy calculus. The theory states that before disclosing personal information, users conduct a rudimentary cost-benefit analysis. If the anticipated benefits like convenience, personalized content, or social connection outweigh the perceived risks, they share their data. Here again, the generational divide is stark. For millennials, the Cambridge Analytica scandal dramatically increased the perceived cost of sharing. They became more wary, more suspicious. A 2025 YouGov survey found that over half of Americans driven by older generations are creeped out by personalized ads. Gen Z, however, operates with a different calculus. Having grown up with AI-driven recommendations and hyper-personalized feeds, they often see data exchange as a necessary, even desirable part of the digital experience. Research from the Oliver Wyman Forum is telling 88% of Gen Zers are willing to share some personal data with social media companies, compared to just 67% of older adults. They will readily trade data for a better website experience or free access to content. This willingness to trade data is the engine of what Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism. In her groundbreaking book, In the Age of Surveillance Capitalism, she argues that our private human experiences have become a free source of raw material. This data is fed into prediction factories that create products sold to advertisers and other businesses. The ultimate goal, Zuboff warns, is not just to predict our behavior, but to automate us, to tune herd and condition our actions for maximum profit. This ubiquitous digital architecture, a big other, operates in the interest of surveillance capital, largely free from democratic oversight. This entire system is built on the shaky foundation of user consent. Yet according to the Pew Research Center, 56% of Americans admit they frequently click agree on privacy policies without reading them, and 69% view them as just an obstacle to get past. This calls into question whether consent in this ecosystem can ever be truly informed. For Gen Z, the bargain is even more profound. Their comfort with personalization isn't just about getting better ads or more convenient services. It's a core part of their identity formation. In an era of constant digital connection, the algorithm has become a mirror. The TikTok For You page is a powerful engine of self-discovery, exposing users to niche aesthetics communities and ideas they might never have encountered offline. Sharing data to refine this algorithm isn't just a trade for entertainment. It's a trade for a more refined sense of self and belonging. The algorithm helps them find their style, their community, and their identity. This effectively outsources a fundamental part of human development to a corporate profit-driven system, creating a feedback loop where identity is co-created with technology. This dynamic has led some scholars to warn of big nihilism, a state where young people are treated as big data-derived fodder, potentially leading to psychosocial harm and a diminished sense of self. Navigating the risks, digital footprints, and self-protection. Despite their different attitudes, both generations face identical and significant risks from data exposure. The theoretical dangers of surveillance capitalism have very real, tangible consequences. Oversharing can lead to doxing, where private information is maliciously published online. Identity theft, financial fraud, cyberstalking, and lasting reputational damage from a permanent digital footprint. The consequences can be severe. Consider the 2024 case of a university student in Indonesia who became embroiled in a scandal over the misuse of scholarship funds. Angry social media users quickly unearthed her old sexually explicit posts on the platform X, creating a permanent mark on her digital reputation that followed her long after the initial controversy. In another instance, a YouTuber with over 700,000 followers was terrified to discover that Uber Eats' official support account had publicly posted his full home address on X in response to a complaint and incident that was live for over 40 hours. These aren't abstract threats, they are real-world harms that stem directly from the data we share. In response, each generation has developed distinct self-protection strategies. Millennials, shaped by their cautious awakening, tend to be more diligent with traditional cybersecurity. An F5 Lab survey found they are more likely to adjust privacy settings across all their accounts, 67% of millennials versus 50% of Gen Z, and consistently consider the impact of their posts. Gen Z's approach is a fascinating mix of savvy and what appears to be naivete. They are more likely than older generations to use privacy-enhancing tools like VPNs, with one CNET survey finding that 50% of Gen Z and millennials use them. They are also early adopters of safer sign-in methods like passkeys, which replace vulnerable passwords. However, research also shows they have some alarming habits. A staggering 79% of Gen Zers recycle passwords across multiple services, and they are highly susceptible to phishing scams, often viewing traditional security policies as inconvenient and complicated. Their digital hygiene is often motivated more by social self-preservation, like deleting old posts to avoid judgment from peers, than by a fear of institutional surveillance. However, to label these habits as merely naive is to miss the point. Gen Z's seemingly risky behaviors are a direct and rational response to a digital environment that relentlessly prioritizes a frictionless experience over robust security. Platforms have conditioned users to expect one-click logins and seamless social sign-ins. Traditional security best practices, like creating unique complex passwords for every single account, introduce friction. Therefore, Gen Z's gravitation towards password managers and passkeys is not just a preference, it's a rejection of a system that is, by their standards, painful to maintain. Cybercriminals are acutely aware of this, specifically designing attacks that exploit Gen Z's desire for speed and convenience. This means that simply telling users to be more careful is an incomplete solution. The burden must also shift to platforms to design security that is as seamless as the user experience it's meant to protect. Conclusion. So, do Gen Zers care about online privacy? The answer is a resounding, if complicated, yes. But their definition of privacy has fundamentally evolved. This isn't a story of a reckless generation versus a paranoid one. It's the story of two distinct digital upbringings. Millennials are the cautious settlers of a new frontier, scarred by early ambushes and keenly aware of what was lost. Gen Z are the natives of that settled land, navigating its complex social codes and hidden economies with a different, and in many ways more sophisticated set of instincts. The post-privacy generation isn't careless. They are calculating, constantly weighing the risks and rewards of visibility in a world that demands it. Ultimately, navigating this world requires a shared digital literacy. It means both generations must constantly update their security toolkit, leveraging privacy settings, using passkeys and VPNs, and being mindful of the digital breadcrumbs we all leave behind. It's about consciously choosing what to share, who to share it with, and how to protect what is truly personal. Because in the digital age, our privacy isn't lost. It's a right we must actively claim, manage, and defend every single day. What's your ultimate privacy tip? A password trick, an app setting, or a general online habit? Share your wisdom in the comments below. And if this episode made you rethink your digital boundaries, hit like and subscribe. Follow GENSHIFT to stay ahead of the curve and live safely in our evolving digital world.